Hey everyone, this is Angie Norris with Angie's Adventures, and I am going to be doing a video today of my wrap up of the October books that I read. I am recording this video from a different location. We are at the beach for Veterans Day weekend, so this video is a little bit late. I was on vacation the last 2 weeks of October, so this past week playing catch up at home and catch up at work. It's been a little crazy, so I haven't had a chance to do this video. So I'm doing it today from my camper at the beach. See my beach life stuff back there. So I read a total of 10 books in October, which was my best year to date since I really got back into reading again back in April, May. This was my best month, and I was on vacation for 2 weeks. And that sounds like, oh, you'd have a lot of time to read while you were on vacation. Well, yes and no. We were out doing stuff every day, so by the time we get back to the hotel room at night, I was pretty wiped out. So I would try to read, but then a lot of times I would fall asleep. But one thing that I have found that has really helped me increase the number of books that I read per month is audiobooks. And so this month I read a total of 10 books. 6 of them were physical books and 4 of them were audiobooks. So I have found, I don't have them handy here, but I put my AirPods in and I will listen to an audiobook while I am doing the dishes, doing laundry, cleaning house, in the car, driving. So that is one way when you typically wouldn't be able to hold a physical book and read it, that you can get your reading in. And so I'm going to go through all 10 of the books that I read. I am not going to do an in-depth review of each book because I have done separate videos of each book. This is just a wrap up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what the Goodreads rating was and what my rating was. And I can drop the links to the different videos where I did the individual book reviews. They're all on my YouTube channel, Tar Heel Thrifts for You. Okay, so we're going to start out. The very first book that I finished in the month of October was a book in a series in the Thursday Murder Club series. I actually read book 3 and book 4 in the month of November. Book 3 was, and I don't have the books with me, guys, so I saved these photos on my iPad so that I could show you this. And there's a glare because I have a ring light here. The Bullet That Missed was the book 3 in the series, and The Last Devil to Die. This is what the book cover looked like. Both of these books were in the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman, and both of these books got a 5-star rating from me. I rarely give out a 5-star rating, and all of the Thursday Murder Club books have received 5-star ratings from me. The Bullet That Missed was the first book that I read in the month of October. It had a 4.37 rating on Goodreads. I gave it a 5-star. And then The Last Devil to Die was the last book that I read in the month of October. And it had a 4.49 ratings on Goodreads. I gave it a 5-star. Okay, the next book that I read in the month of October was The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I'm sorry, y'all, there's a glare on the ring light's glaring. In fact, let me turn that ring light off and see how the light is. I got the window open. No, still need it. The Tattooist of Auschwitz was the first audiobook that I listened to in the month of October. And I did enjoy this book. It had a 4.31 rating on Goodreads. I gave it a 3-star, and I would recommend reading this book. It is set in World War II, and it is set in a German concentration camp. However, I think what tainted my rating of this book a little bit was the fact that I had read The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom, and that is such an amazing book that I compared this one to it, and it didn't reach that ranking. So, but I would highly recommend if you haven't read this book, to read it. Okay, the next physical book that I read was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And this was like a book talk rave. Everyone was raving about it on Book Talk and BookTube. And I bought it and read it. I wanted my whole month of October to be spooky reads, paranormal, horror, for the most part. Not all of them were. And so that's one of the reasons that I chose to read this book in the month of October. And this was the choice. Well, the other reason was this was the choice in my own personal book club that I facilitate in my Facebook group, Angie's Adventures. This was our choice for the month of October, How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. If I did not feel an obligation to finish this book because it was for my personal book club, I would have DNF'd this book. It had a 3.66 rating on Goodreads. I gave it a 2-star. I would not recommend this book. And I doubt that I'll read anything else by this author. Okay, the next book that I read, or that I listened to, was an audiobook by Stephen King. And it is a series book, but I personally had not read, it's called Holly. I had not read any of the previous books in reference to this particular private investigator named Holly. That's the main character and the name of the book. And I did enjoy this book to a certain extent. It had a 4.10 rating on Goodreads. We all know that Stephen King is a brilliant author, the way he writes mystery and thrillers and horror books. And he did that in this book as well. So the storyline itself was very good, but I only gave it a 3-star rating because Stephen King had to get political in this book, and he brought in politics, very specific politics. He talked about COVID, about the vaccine wars. I don't need to hear that. So that's what brought me down, his rating down to a 3-star on that one. Okay, the next physical book that I read that was supposed to be spooky, paranormal-ish, was The Last House on Needless Street. Whoops, hold on. The Last House on Needless Street. That's what the book cover looked like. I mean, look at the house. It looks like a spooky house. There's a cat on the front. I thought it was going to be a really good spooky choice to read for the month of October. I almost DNF'd this one. It wasn't a very thick book. I think it was a little over 300 pages. It was a paperback, and I would have DNF'd it. But I kept reading it thinking it would get better. It didn't. I gave it a 2-star. And I have done a YouTube video that goes more in depth about this one. But I would not recommend reading this book. Okay, the next physical book that I read, because it was October and spooky month, was The London Seance Society. And this is by Sarah Penner. And I had read her previous book, The Lost Apothecary, and loved it. And so I thought this one will be just as good. It really wasn't. I gave it a 3-star rating. Goodreads gave it a 3.48. It had some spookiness, and, you know, it was about a medium, psychic medium, and doing seances, but it just wasn't as good of a book to me as her first one that I read. Okay, the next audiobook that I listened to was by, and I'm going to slaughter his name, Alex Michaelides. I decided to listen to a second book of his on audiobook because I had previously read The Silent Patient. This one is called The Fury, and this one is set in Greece on a Greek island, and it's a mystery thriller. I'm not going to go too much more into it. Goodreads gave it a 3.87 rating. I did not like this one as much as I did The Silent Patient. I gave it a 3-star rating. All right, the next physical book that I read, and last one, the next one, this is number 9, is Middle of the Night by Raleigh Sager. I had read a previous book by him, and this was a Book of the Month Club choice, I don't know, a few months ago, so I purchased it. And so I thought it was a mystery thriller. I would give it a try. I like everything that I've read by Raleigh Sager so far. I will continue to read this author. This one got a 3.71 rating on Goodreads. I actually gave it a 4-star. So if you're looking for a good mystery thriller, this one is a good one. And then lastly, the last audiobook that I read was One by One by Frida McFadden. This one was also a mystery thriller. Once again, I was trying to read that type of genre during the month of October. I listened to this on audiobook. Goodreads gave it a 3.91. I only gave it a 3-star. This was my first book by Frida McFadden, and I know a lot of her books are all the hype right now. I'm not so sure. I'm gonna read something else by her before I decide to axe her as an author. But this one wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So that was my October wrap up. 10 books, 6 physical books, 4 audiobooks. I appreciate you watching this video and tagging along with me. I hope that you try audiobooks if you haven't tried them before. I feel like that is a great way to get more books read. So that is my recommendation for you, and you guys have a great day.